Synchronicity and light phenomena have been part of Katie and John's life since they first met, and for over 4 years they have been given the unique photographic encounters with orbs and light beings, which led them to write Beyond Photography. Documented by some of the most astounding and consistent images ever taken of the paranormal, their book is the most complete photographic account in the world of one couple's personal experience of orbs and light beings. Artists, writers, and researchers, Katie Hall and John Pickering, live and work together in their home in the Lake District of the UK. And Katie has a degree in design and is also a contemporary artist. John is a writer and cartoonist, which gives him a great sense of humor with this. And he has worked in health education and has a lifetime interest in comparative religion and humanity's spiritual quest. Between them, Katie and John have 2 cats and 4 children. Since the publication of Beyond Photography, they have had positive responses and interest from people all over the world. Their experience of other realities is ongoing, and John is currently writing 2 new titles exploring in more depth some of the issues merely touched on in Beyond Photography. So let's warmly welcome John and Katie.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah, thank you.
And good morning, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Friends, and hopefully fellow orbologists. I don't know whether that's a correct term. Well, we're really glad to be here today. It's my, 3rd time in Glastonbury, but Katie has never been here before.
Believe it or not.
So she's missed Avebury and Stonehenge and Silbury Hill and everywhere else. And we're going to have a look at some of those places later in the week. Well, I suppose we'd better get on with our presentation. I've got a script.
Yeah, we've a lot to get through.
It depends whether I stick to it or not. I'm just going to move Katie over here. That's it. There we go.
I'd like to just add here that we don't have all the answers to the orbs and the related phenomenon. And it's manifesting all over the world. Nobody does have all the answers, and we're all on a learning curve. But what we do have are some amazing photographs and 4 years of experiences. And we'd like to share this with you, the mystery and the wonder.
I can see Sean is looking worried over there.
Everything okay?
Okay.
Yes, we're convinced of the another reality coexisting alongside ours. And we'd like to share this with you today.
Are we getting any feed over there, Sean?
Yeah,
for the slideshow. I'm just clicking away.
Yeah, that might make the difference.
Was one that was actually sent to us, and it was taken by a man who doesn't believe in any of this kind of phenomenon. But his girlfriend did. And they were staying in a hotel, and she felt that there was some presence in that building. And she could see the luminosities, but he couldn't see them. So he was very skeptical, and he didn't know what to make of any of this. So she said, well, look, I'm going to tell you where it is. Just get your mobile phone ready, because I haven't got a camera. And this is basically what they took. So I'm just going to go and play this. And they sent this to us a while ago. And you'll see, she said, it's going to come out of the wall any minute now. And there it comes. Let's just look at that again. I'm not too good with this thing, so you'll have to bear with me, folks. Should have Sean up here, really. That's it.
There we go.
Yep. Okay, let's try again.
No.
I think that's pretty good. I think that, see that, I love this video.
I like the way it comes toward the camera and he moves away.
Yeah, let's try it again. Okay.
You can obviously see this coming at it.
Yeah, the good thing about this, you can see it coming towards the camera. And this was just taken by a guy who didn't believe in any of this stuff with a mobile phone he just happened to have on him. And this to me bears out the fact that this phenomenon will not be denied. You don't have to believe in it to see it. Now I'm going to try and get back to the presentation. Ah, yes, here we are.
You don't need that one, do you?
No. Let's just see if I can do this. Yeah, that's good. That's all right. There we go. Just click through this. That's beyond photography, which may be available outside. I think it is. Right. I'm a cartoonist, and one of my cartoon strips. I've got a couple of cartoon strips. One of them's called The Monster Mob. It's all about monsters, which are really kind monsters, but they're sort of drooly, messy monsters that do the kind of things that you'd frighten your kid sister with, but they're very nice, really. And this guy here is a little man called Zog. And Zog is just trucking along like most of us, when one day, splat, out of the sky falls this piece, a piece of the jigsaw, and he's just got to figure out what to do with it. Where does it belong? And he gets a few clues. He looks up, oh, could be there. Well, the point of this little cartoon is basically, if you can't, well, maybe you can read it, but it just says that sometimes we're walking along when a great big piece of the universal puzzle just falls right in our path. We can choose to ignore it, or to walk around it, or we can choose to try and figure out where it all fits. But whenever we do that, when we try and figure out where it fits, as puzzling as that may be, we're no longer mere bystanders, but active participants in the mystery and wonder of the universe. And I think that is why we're all here today, because we want to participate in the mystery and wonder of the universe. And the orbs and the light beings and the luminosities are, I think, encouraging us and helping us all to do that. Now, we're going to hopefully split our talk today into two parts. We're going to look at the phenomenon and the meaning of the phenomenon. So we're going to go through some photographs first, some of our own experiences and photographs to share with you first. So we'll get on with that. Now, Katie would, I think, first like to give us a sense, wouldn't you, of where we live?
I'd like to give you a sense of where we live, because it's in the gardens and the woodlands here that most of what you're about to see took place and is still taking place. For some reason, where we live became a focal point of a living connection with another consciousness. This is our drive, and, well, we've moved on now, fields all around, trees on all sides. Originally, this house and the grounds were built in the 1800s for a wealthy local family. They obviously had a keen interest in wildlife, flora and fauna, for this is reflected in the varied species of old trees and plants in the garden and the woodlands. There was originally a lily pond at the bottom of the drive, but this has gone now. We just have a remaining stream. And it was over this stream that we took our first orb shots outside in the daylight, actually. The first time I walked into the grounds and the gardens, we crossed over a tiny little wooden bridge into what I like to call the Ferry Dell. It was then, and it still is now, quite enchanting. In this dell is an ash tree that grows in the centre. It's surrounded by a circle of short, stumpy lungwort plants. And in the 1800s, these were grown medicinally for bronchial problems, long before penicillin was invented. The Fairy Dell is lovely enough in the daylight for picnics and relaxation. And when the birds have sung their songs and gone to rest in the evening, it becomes quite a magical place. And this is where the phenomenon has chosen to share its secrets with us and teach us children, which is how we feel, a thing or two about reality. And it's here where we've consistently photographed orbs and mysterious beings of light. And the most recent manifestation occurred only last week. We have to cross the little stream to enter the dell, and in fact you can't get to it without crossing one or two of these little bridges. And so many of these photographs we've taken have actually happened in and around the bridge and in the fairy dell. And here's a whole cloud. Oh yeah, this is one of the photographs that to us represented a bridge from the reality we're in and another reality. Lights, small twinkling lights over people or in rooms had been part of my own life for many years before the orbs and what we came to call light forms, before they began to appear in our cameras. And the first time I entered our house, I saw a myriad of tiny twinkling lights floating in the corner of our lounge. But it was to take me another 4 years before I realized we could actually photograph them as orbs. Yeah.
The lights that in our book we call small transient lights, these little lights, we just call them STLs. These are what Katie saw originally years and years ago, and we later came to photograph as orbs. We've mentioned about this in the book. The fact was that we didn't realise that when she saw the little lights, we could actually photograph orbs, but we eventually did come to that realisation. What seemed to be important in that instance was that lots of people seem to see these little lights, but they don't know they're there. They take them for granted. They think they're sort of effects of the peripheral vision or something. But lots and lots of people have seen these. And in fact, when I came to live in the place where we now live first, I myself saw a little cloud high up in the corner of the room in the lounge. And when Katie came, she saw the similar kind of phenomenon. In fact, going back years and years, in the early 50s was the first time I actually saw anything like this. I was with my grandfather on a gardening job, and over a path one afternoon I just turned round and I saw a cloud of twinkling lights. They looked like sparklers or fireworks or something. I didn't know what they were, and that was the very first time I saw them. My grandfather wasn't particularly interested, but
He wouldn't believe you anyway.
no, he didn't believe me anyway. So the next time was when we both came to where we live. I saw the lights, Katie saw the lights, and hopefully lots and lots of people now are seeing these lights. And here are a few photographs that show Katie actually taking some photographs where she has actually seen these little twinkling lights, which actually usually gives me a good opportunity, because I don't see these things regularly. I've only seen them very occasionally. It gives me a good opportunity to get some good photographs. Now, other people see them. These are some folks on holiday in Switzerland. These people, again, didn't believe in any of this phenomenon. They thought it was camera faults or whatever. Yeah. But we got a call from them, actually, and they said, you'll never guess what. We've got all these things and we can see them.
Yeah, and?
Yeah. Now, here's Katie photographing at what we call a luminosity in the garden. The two little luminosities at the bottom are actually the eyes of our cat, Baggy.
Yeah, they do show up.
Yeah, these cats get everywhere, and they'd actually never forgive us if we didn't mention them at the moment. Well, yeah, here's our oldest cat, Thomas. We know cats are supposed to be psychic, but well, ours can certainly detect when there's a chicken in the fridge, but I don't know whether that's anything to do with the spirit of a departed chicken or not. Here we go, here's another couple. Here's Oscar. Now, Oscar seems, for some reason, to be the one that is more involved in this than the other two. Whatever he's seen there, he's not, well, Katie hasn't seen what he's seen, he's not let anyone know. Here he is again, doing a bit of orb stalking, yes. And here he is sitting on the fence as usual about the whole thing. Yeah. And here's the most famous shot of Oscar. He's really got around, he gets around everywhere, does this cat.
He's quite famous now.
He certainly is. And here's a shot that I took early in the spring of 2004. This is in our garden. This is Katie in a long black coat that somebody made for her years ago. This was actually taken with an SLR camera, not with a digital camera at all. In fact, I must point out that we had a digital camera for 2 years, and we never got a thing. We never took a shot of an orb in 2 years, and it didn't begin until we got the first shot. So I don't think orbs are much to do with digital photography in that sense. We had to, because our phenomenon began with orbs, but it moved on, we had to then find some way of classifying the phenomenon. So this is what we did. We classified them into sections. So we had orbs, luminosities, the small transient lights, light rods, light forms, and light beings, which we'll come on to later. I'm going to have to rattle through some of this just because of the time. Now, the orbs, as we see them, were the disc-like, usually not visible to the naked eye. The luminosities, like this one, were sphere-like and usually moving quite fast. In fact, here's a bunch next to the bank of our stream. Here's one shooting along our veranda. And here's a couple. This is one just on the back of Katie's hair. And one day we were walking in the wood with our grandchildren. This is little Charlie, and he spotted this one here. Children seem to be able to see a lot more than we can see as adults. I remember seeing things as a child that I never see now as an adult. And in fact, somebody said actually earlier on this morning about feeling like a child in the presence of this phenomenon. This phenomenon is making children of us all. And that is a good thing, because we are all children. We play adult games, but we're not adults. Now here's Katie and some other orbs and luminosities going across the little bridge. This phenomenon accompanied us all over the place. We were wandering around the gardens and the woodland, and when it first started to occur, we were absolutely astounded and amazed. We were gobsmacked, as they say, by what we were taking. Here's another little one, and this is coming to join. It's a teeny weeny little blue one, and it's actually coming to join with some visiting friends. Here's one playing hide and seek. That's another thing that we noticed. This phenomenon seems to have, I don't know whether it's because I'm a cartoonist, but it seems to have a sense of humour. Yeah. And as this family photograph shows, they just want to get in on the shot. And for some strange reason, they always seem to get in on the shots. Now, this one is quite interesting because you took this, didn't you, at a leaving party?
Yes, there's a leaving party back in '99.
And again, it wasn't a digital camera, was it?
No, we've got the negative for this. And I never saw the orbs. We only recently found this photograph and realised it was happening then.
And on the negative, you can clearly see there's an orb behind this lady's
the head of Lucy. Yeah.
Now, that is quite interesting because people say, they will tell us that orbs are digital artifacts or moisture or dust or whatever. We've known people who've clocked orbs moving at over 200 miles an hour across a room. Well, dust doesn't move that fast. Well, not in our house.
Hey, hang on.
Here we are again. Again, this is
my brother, my skeptical brother.
Katie's skeptical brother, who we'll come to later. And there's an orb behind his head, and some others, and there's another one behind a leaf. Again, and here's what people say.
Incredible.
Yeah.
This is incredible because people were saying, what you're taking
it's
are
moths,
insects.
it's insects, whatever.
And the next shots we get, we have creatures
These
in front.
things. And here it is in close-up.
It's really interactive.
These things are not moths and insects. These are insects. Yeah. Now, just to give you the difference, but as you can see, there's a little orb on that shot too. Oh. Yeah. These are not insects, and not unless insects have learned to fly in circular formation. Now this happened at a time when circular symbolism and the circular nature of this phenomenon was becoming very important to us. Now, for a long time, well, for quite a few months, after we'd taken the first orb shots, we were only able to get them in one room in our house, and that was in the front room. We tried everywhere else. We couldn't get them anywhere else, just that one room. Because of that, and as you can see, there's a mirror over the fireplace, some of our more sceptical friends and family said,
brother
it's the mirror. Yes, the brother included. It's the mirror, it's reflections. But it wasn't. One evening, we had them over for dinner, a few people, and a couple of the skeptics decided, well, we'll do a test. Take the mirror down and see what happens. We took some shots. We didn't get any orbs. Nothing. No mirror, no orbs. Ipso facto, mirrors create orbs. Well, as budding orbologists, is that a word? Could be. As budding orbologists, we thought, well, let's try another few shots, and we did. And we got a few. Now, Simon, who was Katie's brother, he looked at these shots and he said grudgingly, what did he say? He said,
well, you know, this is all right, but I'd be much more impressed if we got a room full.
And the very next shot, we got a whole room full.
Yes. We counted over 200 shots on this one.
Yeah, over 200 orbs, yeah.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, after that shot, we didn't get anything else.
No.
Nothing, not a thing that night. Although we all took shots with different cameras, nothing.
3 cameras,
That was it.
yeah.
It was almost as though something had made a statement, and that was that. And that's the way it felt, it really did. Now, part of the phenomenon we got moving on from the orbs was light rods, and I'm just going to whip through these very quickly. It's all in the book, all this. Katie took these shots. We've got quite a few shots of horizontal rods of light moving across our garden. Another phenomenon we got was
This was interesting.
constellations. Now, we've got quite a few shots of these, and we know other people who have as well. That this particular one came the day after a night when we'd seen an object moving through the constellation of Canis Major by the star Sirius, and
It's about 12 o'clock at night. We
this
watched it for
this
half
orb
an
pattern
hour.
we discovered later matches 11 out of the 21 stars of that constellation of Canis Major.
And notice Sirius as well.
Yeah, Sirius
it's
is
quite
big.
different to the others.
Now, what we'd say is do check your own shots, because the orb patterns may not be random. Another phenomenon that we then began to get was what we call winged forms or fairies. Well, orbs were one thing, but fairies at the bottom of the garden, that was a bit beyond the pale. So, anyway, we got these shots of strange winged forms. As you can see, it's not a bird, it's a kind of a bundle of energy. And once we got one, just as happened with everything else that's happened with us, once we got one type of phenomenon, we got more and more. It repeated. It was a repeating, reoccurring phenomenon. Here we are. Here's a few more. I'm just going to whip through these very quickly. And just this was just a few weeks ago.
Just last week.
Yeah, well, just last week actually,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah. Another kind of energy form.
Yeah.
This brings us on to, as the phenomenon developed, what we called light forms. And the first light forms we began to take with these. One day, one night, when I was photographing Katie, she was taking some shots of orbs. We were out in the grounds, and we suddenly got this strange curling mist.
Yeah,
Go.
we got orbs and mist, so you couldn't say, you know,
No.
it's one or the other.
But this mist, this energy, these apparitions began to become more and more, and
Manifest.
every time we went out, we began to get these things. Strange, twisting, dynamic
dancing
shapes.
almost. Oh.
I'm just going to run through
This
these.
is the ash tree again, and in the
in
centre
the
of
fairy
the
down,
doll.
yeah. I'm just going to run through these. Just leave them on for a few seconds.
Yeah, all these are in the same place, basically. We didn't have to go anywhere to take these shots.
And when you're in the proximity of this kind of thing, it feels like electrostatic. The air feels full of the kind of feeling you get after a thunderstorm. You know, that tingle of electrostatic activity. I'm just going to go through these. As the phenomenon developed, we realized that something was communicating to us. We didn't know what it was, and I think that's what we're going to be looking at a little later. What is it saying to us?
I can just say here as well that whilst this was happening, we wanted to go out every night and take more and more shots and become really, orb junkies. But it didn't happen like that because the weather where we're at, we get quite a bit of, cold, rainy weather. So we'd probably be going out at least once a week, or probably once, twice a week.
And that's the point, that we tried
We
not. We
respected.
we didn't go out when it was wet or rainy or whatever.
No,
because when we were first looking at this phenomenon, we wanted to eliminate all possible natural causes.
And we did for us,
We did.
didn't we?
And for us, we eliminated all those natural
Yeah,
causes.
yeah.
Now, this comes on to Dr. Emoto, that many of you will know about, although at the time when Dr. Emoto was mentioned to us, we knew nothing about him and his work with positive thought and cleaning up water. And one day, when was it? Was it July?
It was the 25th of July 2005, I remember it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, you say what happened.
Yeah, well, a friend had given us some information to join in this global ceremony, and we were busy working away in the afternoon when we remembered, it's the day, you know, we should go down to the stream. And this was in daylight. It must have been 4:30 in the afternoon, and we rushed down to the bottom end of the garden
To do the
the
ceremony.
stream to do the ceremony. And we put our fingers in the water and repeated the mantra. And I was feeling particularly deep in thought, because when I first moved to where I live, we had sticklebacks and little newts and little fishes and
All kinds of
crayfish, all kinds of things living in the stream. And now, a few years after, these things, they were not there anymore. So I felt particularly sad, because we think a farm further up the stream had polluted it. So I was feeling very sorry for this. And I started to feel a tingling in my left hand. It went really cold. And in my right hand, I felt really hot. And this brought me out of my concentration,
Well, at this
not
point,
realising
that I'd actually finished.
you finished.
And I'd wandered off. I'd taken my camera, although Katie hadn't taken hers. And I took some shots to record what we were doing. And this is one of the little phenomena that happened at that time. And the important thing to me, at least, about this is that this little thing, this little light form, we called it a sprite, although it's not a sprite. These terms are just descriptive, they're not definitive. We've got to call them something. But it's actually mimicking what Kate is doing. It's partly submerged into the water. It's empathic. Now, that brings us on again to the idea of empathy, the empathic nature of this phenomenon, that it's actually going alongside us as individuals. It's helping us to realise that there is more to our world, our reality, than we think or sometimes can even conceive. And as we said earlier on about the little bridge, and we got, this was one of the earliest shots we got of the light forms, forming a kind of bridge. And we felt, didn't we, that when we stepped over this bridge, it was almost like stepping over a bridge into another reality. Now, the reality for a lot of people on this world is far different to the reality that we have here. We are so fortunate to be here. But we have to ask ourselves, what about those other people? And they are part of this world too. And as we're talking here, as we're doing this presentation, we're all having a good time, interested in orbs, light forms. Millions of people on this world are dying, suffering. Their reality is totally different to ours. Yeah. What we have to ask ourselves is, what good is this phenomenon that has brought us so much good to them, to the other people in this world? And of course the answer is no good at all. Not unless what is happening, whether it's orbs or light forms, whatever it is, not unless that is transforming us as individuals, transforming us spiritually. Because at the end of the day, that is what this is all about, transformation, spiritual transformation. Because only by being transformed individuals can we actually transform the sad society that we all inhabit at the moment. This we call the light being. This is the first one we took. And that evening, we were just going inside, and by mistake, I pressed the shoot button instead of switching the camera off, and that's what we got. And as you can see, the next moment, there was nothing there. Now, some people will call these beings angels.
This is the ash tree again.
Yeah, this is the ash tree again, yeah. Now, again, it was something that began to happen with that first light being that we saw on the veranda. After that, they began to appear consistently. Now, I suppose you can call them angels in the sense that they are messengers, because all an angel is, in fact, the Hebrew word malach is just messenger. It means messenger. It doesn't tell you what the being, what kind of being it is. All it tells you is its function. Angelus in Latin, I think, and agelos in Greek. That's the sum total of my knowledge on that. But the important thing is that as angel messengers, anything can be an angel. Orbs, light beings, light forms, even animals, people, all these people can be angels. But this phenomenon at times seemed to evidence what the Hebrews called in the Old Testament angels from the celestial realm. And I have a feeling this is one of them. When we began to take this phenomenon, we were incredibly moved. We felt as though at times we were literally living in two worlds at a time. And even now, actually, my friends, it is very difficult to be anchored just where we are right now. We weren't the only people taking these. This one was taken in 2006 by an ex-policeman who was visiting the Vatican, and it made the English press. Here's another one that was taken by a farmer, a lady farmer, and she'd never taken orbs. She'd actually bought Beyond Photography, and she'd got in touch with us, and she'd started to, after reading the book, she started taking orbs, and then she started to get this kind of thing, which actually freaked her out to begin with, but now she's okay with it. Now this one, this appeared, what?
It's about a month ago.
A month ago. One evening, late at night, I had a feeling to go outside. Something was around, I didn't know what it was. I went outside, I looked around, I couldn't see anything, but there was a feeling, there was something there. I took a few shots, perhaps I would record it, and it did. But what I didn't know, what we didn't know until much later, was that a friend who does believe in the angelic realms and who is very convinced about the reality of angels, as many of you will be, had actually asked for an angel visitation for us. The Archangel Michael, that night. We didn't know that, but we got that. What does it mean? Sometimes the phenomenon that we were getting, the apparitions, don't conform to what you think of as angels, or even some people might not think very nice looking beings. But I must say we have never felt anything other than love, than peace and tranquility with any of this. This one is about, what, about 12 feet tall?
I reckon.
Yeah. And as you can see, there's a little orb as well. This is, again, it's coming through our garden. It made me think of an ant, in a way. I hope ants exist somewhere. Here's one that some people think look like a spaceman. I'm not sure. And here's another one that some people think look like a flying alien. Who knows?
And that's the ash tree again.
And that's, again, the ash tree. This is, again, in the Ferry, what Kate calls the Fairy Dell, where we've had so many things happen. It's a magical place, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
I'll let you talk about this one.
Well, this is an interesting shot because the little story behind it, the woodland at the side of the Fairy Dell was becoming really overgrown, and I don't know if anyone knows about sycamore trees, but they're seeds and they germinate, they grow very quickly, and we had to do a little bit of coppicing. So I was pulling out all the seedlings I think it was Saturday morning, and you did all the heavy work, didn't you? And it was the next time we were taking photographs. And I said aloud when we went into the dell, I'm really sorry that I had to take your babies away, your little saplings, but to enable the yew trees and the hollies to grow, we had to just thin it out to make more space. And this was the photograph we got from that. Now there is something growing next to a beech tree that shouldn't be there.
We thought it was a tree
We thought it was a tree, but there is no tree there. And when we moved on, yeah.
And this is it, just enhanced. I've lightened it up. And sometimes you have to lighten your pictures up, but you can't do it too much because you just lose all the detail.
Yeah.
But we had to lighten this up to see what on
it.
earth was that there? Is it a tree?
Yeah.
What is it? It looks very anthropomorphic to us.
So
we called
the
it
following day we did another comparison.
We did,
We
yeah.
went out there.
Now here we are.
And you
5
can
foot
see,
2 as opposed to.
Well, I don't know about that, but you can actually just see where the tree branches are.
Yeah, you can.
To my right.
So this
on the
thing,
photograph.
whatever it is very tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps it's tree beard.
So we
I don't know.
like to call him the Green Man.
We call it the Green Man because it's very, very green.
Yeah.
Now, what is the value of all this? What is the value of orbs and luminosities and light beings? All this phenomenon, as wonderful as it is for us as individuals, what are they communicating to us and why are they doing it? Why is it happening now? It's strange, isn't it, that at this particular time in Earth's history, where the society we live in, and as many of you will know, you must look at what's happening in this world and think, what on earth is going on? Why have we got so many stupid leaders? Why?
Why is the petrol so expensive?
Why is petrol so expensive? Yeah. What is happening? And it's almost as though something is kind of messing things up on one level, but on another level, things are getting better spiritually. And I think that the reason for a lot of this is that events, spiritual aspects are polarizing at every level of our society. And one of the important things to us as we got on and we went through this phenomenon was a circular symbolism, because this is reflected in every level of our existence, psychologically, physically, mythically, every way. And it's been with us since the beginnings of time. Here's some spiral patterns on the stone circle not far from us. The Tai Chi, or as most people, this is actually called the Tai Chi, but most people know it as a yin-yang symbol. Again, circular symbolism. And to me, if any symbol represents what is happening with the orbs, it is this, the visual symbol of the Tai Chi, the holistic symbol of life and balance and harmony. We're seeing it repeated in crop circles. And as you know, little lights, orbs, spheres are prevalent in the formation of crop circle phenomenon. Why are we getting crop circle phenomenon? Why are we getting orbs? Perhaps this is the answer, because all this circular symbolism, to my way of thinking anyway, is directing our minds to this most important orb of all, the orb of the earth, the sphere of all our existence, the reason why we're here. And Earth isn't just a mechanistic set of elements. Earth is a living entity. And for us, this has been reinforced time and time again with this phenomenon. It's almost as though the Earth is speaking to us through this phenomenon, telling us that we need completeness, that we need unity in our lives, and we need to be aware that the universe is much, much bigger than we can ever know.
I'd like to just say here as well that after 4 years of living through these experiences, and 2 of those years were sort of involved with writing a book about it, I found myself in a bit of a quandary afterwards. The book had been written and my initial euphoria had gone, and I felt in a strange kind of limbo. So feeling really sort of sad about that. I was sitting in the Ferry one day and I pushed my fingers into the soil, and I thought, well, I got some reaction when we did the water ceremony. I might get a reaction if I put my fingers in the soil and just sort of talk and communicate with this consciousness. And I said, okay, you've got your book. But what am I to do now? Anyway, 3 words were spoken to me very clearly. Believe, meditate, and pray. And that was it. And it's since then I've come to realise what those words mean and how I can use them. The real value of this phenomena is how it affects us spiritually and what we can do about it.
I think that's very true, and I think for all of us here today, we must remember one thing: there are no coincidences, there really aren't. I've found this in my own life. When I was a child, at times I felt that I was living in 2 worlds at once. I had some strange experiences as a child when I look back now. But my own life has been informed by certain aspects of other reality. And this other reality has been present with all of us. And the great thing is, it's not just out there, it's not just in some big cosmic space, it is in this space, inside of us as well as outside of us, and it treats us all as individuals. Sometimes I'm very tempted to look out at the universe and wonder, is there a God? God isn't very popular nowadays, but whatever this consciousness is, it has a personal consciousness. It relates to us personally as specific individuals. And while we are here on this world, and at certain times it feels like a nursery world, we're like children in a playground, and we're just like peering through the
like larvae.
Like larvae at the bottom of the stream, looking up through some kind of blur, and we catch a glimpse of something beyond what we know. And I think that today, with the orbs, the light forms, all this sort of stuff, we're on a learning curve. We really are on a learning curve. Our planet, just to put things in perspective, our world is a beautiful blue gem of life. It's unique in the cosmos, in the sense that it is a world of abundant life. But abundant life is everywhere in the cosmos, and that also is unique. The unique fact of life in the cosmos is that life exists. But maybe we don't have to look into the depths of outer space to contact this another intelligence, another life. I've been interested in UFOs all my life because of my own experience as a child. But maybe we don't have to look into the stars, into distant galaxies to contact another intelligence. I think this intelligence is already here. And I think this intelligence is contacting us now, collectively and individually. It's touching our lives with wonder, with a sense of wonder and awe.
I'd just like to say as well that I feel we've been really privileged to be a part of this, because we're nothing special and we're nothing different. We're all basically the same, aren't we?
We are.
And, you know, we were chosen to share this.
Somebody has said we're all unique like everybody else. And that is very true. We are all unique, and we're all uniquely part of the oneness. And I think that this, to me, is the important message of the orbs and the light forms, the light beings, is oneness. The oneness and unity of life on this world. One thing that we do find here, we're talking about transformation of society. I just want to go back to that for a minute. The transformation of human society can only be achieved through the transformation of the individual. And in our society, as it is today, a very sad fact is that enslavement, addiction to whatever, is the norm. People are addicted in this society to wealth, to power, to drink, to drugs, to sex, even addicted to stress. And what we have to remember is anyone who is addicted to anything, anyone who is enslaved by anything is not free. Oneness, completeness can set us free. And that is what we need in this society today. We need free individuals. But this doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's not instant enlightenment. We have to work at spiritual achievements. We really do. For example, like peace. Peace isn't just the absence of war. Peace is something actively that you have to work at, that you have to do. Like Jesus said, you have to love your neighbour as yourself. You really do. And sometimes that is hard for us as individuals, to love the unlovable sometimes. But I think that's what we're called to do, you know, to try and extend our consciousness, to use the symbolism of the circle in its ultimate sense as a circle that doesn't exclude, but as a circle that draws us in, that takes us in, an inclusive circle of life, of oneness.
And if we find that difficult to do in a physical sense, I think we can do it in meditation. We can reach out, and I think our intentions are so valuable. We should do that.
Now this symbol here, the Tai Chi, and the words on the screen here, I have known these words since I was 9 years old. When I was 8 years old, I had a problem wondering whether what I was seeing, how did I see what I was seeing? It seemed to me, how did I know what was real? That's when I first began to question things. When I was 9 years old, I got this form of words. And to me, this form of words has informed my life ever since. And what I'd like to ask you to do is actually to say this with me now. I would like to say, if you would like to say this with me now, because I believe that this is incredibly important. This is what it is all about. The orbs, the light forms, everything. This is what it is about. So can we say this, please? Together. There is only one, and the one is the many, formless and formed, spirit and matter, light and dark, you and me. In each is the all, and all are the one. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for having us here. Thank you.
Do you want to put the video on? We've got time. Do you want to put the video on?
No. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we got most of that.
Yeah.
Test.
Sorry. Start again.
Good morning, Katie and Jan. Is that better? Yeah. You kindly analysed some photographs for me a few months ago. I was taking with a camera I'd had for about 3 years. And I got fantastic results with it. I then went on to buy a new camera with higher megapixels. I didn't get anything on that. On reverting back to the original camera, I'm again getting fantastic phenomena. Is this just coincidence, or do you think there's a reason?
Well,
I really don't know.
Well, some people say that this phenomenon will choose a camera to be seen in. That may be correct. I don't know personally, because we have never had any problems with cameras. Although I must say that the very first camera we had was only,
we didn't get any.
What was it?
800.
800 megapixels, I think it was.
We never got
and we
anything.
never got a thing. Whereas other people got loads of things on cameras with low pixels. Digital cameras actually see further into the infrared and ultraviolet than normal SLR cameras, but because of the CMOS in a digital camera, it blocks out infrared. All digital cameras tend to do that to some degree, except when you're using night vision, of course. But I don't know. I think that you have to persevere with a new camera, personally.
Right,
I
thank
just
you.
keep using your old one.
Yes, I have.
You have a camera, don't you? You're very fond of.
I do, yes, a really old
And
camera.
it just packed up the other year,
Yeah.
and it would never work again until, what,
Just recently, actually.
2 weeks ago. And it just suddenly started up, and we went outside and we took 3 shots of orbs,
Yeah.
and then it died.
So I can't work it out. You can't
All right.
always say always.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Oh, back here? All right.
Could we show the video?
Yeah.
If you want to ask, we'll go and sit down.
Sure. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about this, maybe. On Sky TV, about 8 years ago, was a program called Rods. And what they did is they took cameras out in Mexico, I think it was, video cameras. And when they took back the film, they saw these anomalies sort of flying by.
Right.
And since then, many people have been watching TV, recording the TV. When they watch programs come back, they see these anomalies.
Yeah.
I've seen them myself.
Yeah, we have.
Yes.
And I was going to ask you whether something my sister and I were discussing was, is it the thought that you're going to see these things actually allowing the camera to take it, or do you think that these are coming up without that thought process?
Well, I think...
I don't think the thought comes first. I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
It happens.
We've actually seen so many people who have not believed in this phenomenon. In fact, photographers have said it's dust or it's moisture. We've never taken things in 10 years. We've never taken an orb. And then suddenly they start to get them.
We've had professional photographers
Tell us
say
this.
this. And then they start taking them once
I mean,
they're aware, and it's like an acknowledgement.
Yeah, and the point you made is very well made, because we have noticed, and other people have actually contacted us about this, about orbs and luminosities appearing in the background on TV. I think we mentioned this in a newsletter.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
appearing all over the place. It's like crop circles. I mean, crop circles are not just limited to this area of the world. Crop circles appear all over the place. No, this phenomenon will not be denied.
And also, you can get many people taking photographs, but the orbs will only appear in certain
cameras.
ones. It is a very personal interaction, I feel.
There's a dynamic going on. That we have theories and we have thoughts on it, but there's a dynamic going on that I don't really think that any of us really completely as yet understand. It's spiritual, it's physical. I mean, this comes to the question, doesn't it, that when we take something, when we take a photograph, whether it's a UFO, a light being, an orb, whatever it happens to be, the moment we take it and it comes on our camera, it is then part of the visual spectrum, part of our own reality. It's not supernatural by that definition, because it's actually part then of the natural world, even for a second or two. And that leads you to think, well, is there any supernatural phenomenon? Or is it just
natural.
the way we look at it, the way we view it? I don't think there is, actually. I think it's just gaps in our knowledge. What we call supernatural is gaps in our knowledge. Everything that exists is natural in one sense, and also supernatural in another sense, because everything is a miracle. It's a miracle that we're here.
Can I just ask one more thing, and then
Yeah.
I'll pass it back?
Yeah, sure.
Your photos have been the most outstanding that I've ever seen. I'm sure other people probably feel the similarly, especially some of those larger beings that you've managed to capture. I'd be really intrigued if you were to start using video to capture some of these things, and see. And have you done any experiments with the video?
Well, originally, when all this happened, we were not looking for anything to happen. We were busily getting on with our lives. I was trying to I was being a cartoonist and doing other things. It just came. So we didn't get into videoing it to begin with, but since this has all happened, since the book came out, we've actually taken video footage, basically because we came into contact with other people who did. We've taken some good video footage. The first was in the home of a couple who were spiritualists, and they contacted us and said, "We're getting these things, we're getting these wonderful things," and they had golden rain falling out the ceiling, and they'd actually videoed this.
You couldn't see
rain
it, you couldn't
coming.
see it visually, but you could see it on the video.
Yeah, once you
It's
sort of
amazing.
play it, and they use night vision. And so we sat in their house and took some really pretty good shots, video shots. We haven't bought them today because we don't have their permission to do that.
Sean, you have some strange things going on. Anomalies.
Have we got time to show a little bit?
Have we?
We have actually got, if we have 5 minutes, we did actually have
We
some,
have got a little video.
A little video with
Yeah?
some with some
Oh, you have
music
one with you?
behind it.
Can we
And
put that on?
That's us then. We're finished.
It's only a homemade effort.
6 minutes it takes.
Good.
Yeah,
Have we got time?
can we stick that on? It's from a CD called Luminescence that a man who had read Beyond Photography
Could
got
we
so
bring the
inspired
house
by the
lights down,
images
please?
that he began to create music, and some of the music that he created is on this in the background for the video, and it is actually because he then created the CD. We bought some of his CDs along so that they're out there. We'll just try and play this now. Let's just see if we can get it to work, Sean. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to that.
Thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give John and Katie a big hand.
Thank you.